Not bad.
Yes. Back again. Motown Philly back again. What up, y'all? Back in the captain's chair. Welcome to Coffee Break with JN. Well, hello. You know the universal greeting. Well, hello. What's up, crew? How y'all doing? Welcome to group. Hello, my name is Susan. I'm a caffeine. Hi, Suze. Yeah. Yo, what up, meat? It's good to see you, bro. Chill. You know, Cheek here. What up, JoJo? Check it in. Sound off, y'all. I see a lot of superstars in here tonight. Yeah. What's up? No, notorious. JRD's in the building. you know the you know the universal greeting. Bawa weep, bra weep, ninny bong. That's right. Yes. How are you? I see some people in here I don't see very often. What up, Meet Ellis? I see you in the building. What's going on, brother? Sip of coffee from Meet Ellis. Yeah, on brand. Representing the official. Is it Thursday yet? Coffee break with JN mug. Officially on sale at my man JRD's online store. Where you can go cop that. I'll leave it up there so you can write it down. Um, what up, Jason May? J May in the building. Lucy's here. Lucy's in the sky with diamonds. How are y'all? Good to see you. Go check out Jason May's clubhouse every Wednesday at I think is it at 8 p.m. EST, Jay? Just at the same time as Pencil to Pencil. We can never see each other's shows. Hang out with us. Uh Sorry I was running late, guys. I thought my coffee maker broke. I'm like low on supplies, y'all. So this afternoon, like I just put an end on the nut pods. Pause. I think I told you, yeah, Joe, you need to cop that. And that brings us into our discussion points for the evening. But I'll get back to that in a second. Pause. That's right. Pencil to Pencil and Jason May Draw Clubhouse is like back to back Saturday mornings. My dudes, the Leaping Mariana Brothers, they sell a lot of prints at their show. Not prints, prints. And one of the ones that Chris Mariano makes are the old ABC Saturday morning lineups. You guys remember when we were kids and you would see the previews, like the fall previews for the new Saturday morning cartoon lineups on every channel. They had a really bad 30-minute show that would happen like a couple months before the seasons changed. And there were usually some kid actors and that would show clips. It was like a clip show. And you would get so hyped for the shows that are coming out in a couple of months. And that's where I remember I got really, 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 really like almost unhealthily obsessed with the new Pac-Man cartoon. Because I was the world's biggest Pac-Man nerd, right? And it was unhealthy. Like if you've ever talked to people or if you've seen that phenomenon when it first started, where people played so much Tetris, they would see the blocks when their eyes were closed. I was on that with Pac-Man, and then And the thing was, when they did the preview, they didn't do any sounds. It was just, I think, like the intro, like Pac-Man. And I was like, yo, I was bugging. Just imagine like Shorty Jamar, like, yo. And then when I finally, when the show came on and there was a laugh track, and then Pac-Man sounded like a 50-year-old dude from Brooklyn with a cigar in his mouth. And I was like, is Pac-Man doesn't sound like that, but you didn't know what Pac-Man sounded like. But that wasn't it. And I was just like, I was over it. I was just like, this isn't my Pac-Man. And, kind of thinking about some characters like that over time, like Spider-Man. And hear me out. A lot of people grew up who weren't comic book people, who learned about Spider-Man from the live action skits in the Electric Company, where Spider-Man would go down the street and he'd turn to the camera and there'd be a thought balloon. And then a Yeti would come and sit on shaved ice in the middle of the street. And then later on, when there were other cartoons and things, and Spider-Man would talk, or he would talk a lot to confuse his enemies, people were like, that's not how Spider-Man talks. Spider-Man doesn't talk. Because their first Spider-Man was the thought balloon Spider-Man, like he was a mute or something like that. So I wonder if anybody has any childhood letdowns from something that you really wanted and then it wasn't what you thought it was. I could talk about the one year I asked my mother for the Millennium Falcon for Christmas, and she got me the little die-cast joint. I mean, that I was crushed, but it was pretty cool because in my head when I was playing, I was using kind of like, far away shots. And he always did that, like that one scene in Empire where the Falcon like goes up to the screen. It goes over. Trey, what up, Trey? Trey says my mom was a Pac-Man god. Yeah, Pac-Man still, it hits just right. Let's see who else is in the building. Yo, Paul Pate. What up, Paul Pate? You know what? It's funny. Like I say the same things to you guys every like almost everybody in here has a nickname, a handle, a gimmick, something I say in succession every time we're on. And I go, Paul Pate. What up, Paul Pate? Paul Pate says, sorry I'm late. Was watching a good Ben Affleck movie. I was trying to remember. It was an old SNL skit where they had, it must have been right after Good Will Hunting came out. And Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were on the top of the world, but one of them was a little more famous than the other. I can't remember. I think it was Ben Affleck, right? Because Ben Affleck, I don't know, I can't remember. And there was Saturday Night Live, and Sherry O'Terry did a Barbara Walters impersonation. And I might mix these up because I don't remember the skip. I just remember it's funny. So she's leading in to Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. It goes, Ben Affleck, you're on top of the world. You're the most talked about celebrity in Hollywood. And Matt Damon, you're his friend. That was always the funniest thing to me. And Matt Damon, you're his friend. Yo, what up, Ben Harvey? Yo, TGIT. Thank God it's Thursday. Two Thursday to quit. Let's see what else is going on down here. Yo, Meet Ellis says, Punky Brewster, the road back to Saturday morning. Yes, sir. That's so funny. Let's see what else is going on. Yeah, look at all these people kind of checking in. Oh, yeah, time for timer. I got a hanker for a hunk of cheese at the cheese wheel. I love those cartooning designs. Yeah, what up, Matt? Matt says, easy reader and a spoiler. Yeah. A real young. He probably wasn't young then. Oh my God. His name just fell out of my mouth. Morgan Freeman was 45 years old on an electric company. I don't know how old Morgan Freeman is. Sue says, electric company, Rita Moreno yelling, hey, you guys. Yeah. Rita's like almost like a EGOT. Isn't she an EGOT winner? Rita Moreno's done everything. So cool. Yeah, I don't know how we got on this. JRD, who I saw at Baltimore Comic Con last weekend, along with my man Mike Hawthorne. Sip of coffee for Mike Hawthorne. JRD's pushing the envelope there. Said, I told Hawthorne to call me Robert. Oh man. Are you too good for JRD and mixed company? Okay. All right. Matt says about childhood, everything was amazing to me. It's kind of the reverse for me. I love things at the time that seem really lame now. I guess that's really all of our memories, right? We just kind of made stuff work. And I don't want every time we get on here to be the, hey, remember that hour. But it kind of is in a way, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, I don't know. I think, we talk about our Gen X lives so much like we're super special or we're the best generation or whatever. But I mean, our daily interactions with the world was pretty much having to use your imagination or go out into the street and or get kicked out of the house from your parents every day. Get out of the house, go play, go do something. Get out from under me. Get out of here. It's hot. Don't touch me. Get out. Go. And you just went. And if you lived in a city and it was kind of woolly outside, you might have had parameters like everybody had hood parameters like don't go past the corner store, that's what we call them in Philly, or the bodega, or you could go to the top of the block, but don't leave the block. And everybody knows the famous be back in the house when the street lights come on. Because you didn't want to hear your mom yelling your name up the street. It was too late. Nobody called you for dinner. You dinner was when the lights came on. And I was talking about something with my cousins, and we started talking about it's a pretty known fact that I'm a Dungeons and Dragons nerd, and I'm not going to talk about D&D too much tonight. But I know there was a period in my life where I feel like D&D saved my life because I was kind of getting into stuff, and I'm not, I never said I was a tough guy or whatever, but you're kind of limited by your options sometimes. And there's a lot of kids who probably are paying a price for a life they probably didn't want. And, I got introduced to Dungeons and Dragons. Hey, we're going to go play this game. Come over on Saturday and we're going to sit on a porch and do this like all day. And I was like, cool. And then I was hooked. And then all that other stuff fell away. I didn't want to run the streets. I didn't want to like climb up in the stuff and write on walls and stuff. It kind of focused me in a very nerdy way for the time, but it kind of kept me out of trouble. And then after that, I started working and I had a job and I would go to work on the weekends and play D&D every other weekend. And I spent a lot of time looking through the Dungeons and Dragons books and trying to figure out what my, when I get the next level, what kind of spells could I write down, and how could I, am I going to get a pole arm or a great sword? Like all that stuff was fantastic to me, and my imagination was just popping, and a lot of the other shit I didn't care about anymore. So you'll always hear me talk about protecting our imagination. It's very rare that we use our imagination anymore, especially as old people. They beat that out of you, right? So our childhood was full of stuff that wasn't that great, and we still had to activate our imagination and make that stuff work. So yeah, I think we did all right for ourselves. Paul Pate says, I got a model car one year, busted it open. It was a gremlin. Oh no. Did you paint it like lime green? Jojo says, miss my Nana's front steps. Hashtag summertime. Yeah. Yeah, Carlos, you know the drill. Be home when the street lights come on. That's just how it is, man. Yo, Brad Tree, what up, Brad? Thank you. Shout out to my man Brad holding it down, Baltimore Comic Con, the voice of God at Baltimore Comic Con. Brad's one of my best buds. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for all your help last weekend. Um, Jason says, dude, I was thinking about that same thing about Morgan. Oh, we're talking about Morgan Freeman being 1,000 years old. NPR just did a big thing on Electric Company. Yeah, they're like kind of celebrating it. That was such a breakthrough show. But all that stuff was like, I remember 321 Contact, New Zoo Review. I used to get ready for school. I remember I was in third grade getting ready for school, and New Zoo Review will come on with Henrietta Hippo and Gary, my man Gary Canoe. Yo, we were at it was a kids Comic Con, and they had the puppeteers from, I can't say the whole New Zoo Review. It just had the dude was rolling around with Gary Gnu, and there's somewhere on my Facebook I took a bunch of flicks with Gary Gnu. We're we're starting on the gram. And he had the slick back hair and the turtleneck with the blazer. Gary Gnu was an early fashion idol for me. There's no news is good news with Gary Gnu. It's so fun. Oh yeah, we were talking about this not too long ago. That 6 block radius. We were just talking about that on where were we talking about that? Was that on It Ain't Hard to Tell or Pencil to Pencil? Oh yeah, we're talking about that on Pencil to Pencil last night with Ashley A. Woods. We had a very fantastic conversation with Ashley. If you missed it, if you're watching this on the Pencil to Pencil YouTube channel, go back last night and check it out. Very cool. Man, there's so much stuff. You guys are making me rock out. Nice. I love it. You guys are always on point. Yo, what up, Bill? Sip of coffee for Bill O'Donnell. I was hanging out with a bunch of superstars last weekend. Oh, I was telling you guys that my Keurig was acting up. I ran out of half and half, and I even ran out of everything at the same time. I'm just like, what am I gonna do? Because I don't drink black coffee. It feels like punishment to me. My old mix, if Clean was here, she'd tell you, as I used to burden all of my interns, and this was like years ago. I don't want to cancel myself, but I would sometimes ask people to get me coffee, and it's just to see if they're paying attention. And usually I would either give them something in turn for it, like I'd let them go home early, or I'd give them money and they could just do whatever else they wanted with it. And now to me is something you can't really do anymore. And it wasn't like a servitude thing, like, Gladys, where's my coffee? But it was more like, hey, can you pay attention to the little details? Like something that has nothing to do with you. Can you care enough to remember what goes inside this coffee? And at some point I stopped doing it just because it was like the energy was different, and it wasn't like I didn't think there'd be a lesson to be taught there, and I just was like, whatever, I get it myself. But I used to be a cafe au lait with 2 Splendas and a bump of cinnamon. But I weaned myself off of sweetener. I don't do sweetener anymore. And because it used to be like, what were the worst out of the sweeteners? It was, and then somebody will show up and go, oh, agave is great. But you had the yellows, the blues, and the pinks. The yellows was Splenda, the blue was Equal, and the pinks was Sweet and Low. Everybody knows about the pinks. And at some point I was just like, all of this stuff is garbage. I'm just going to not use it at all. And I'm just like, coffee with a little bit of half and half, and I'm good. So I found in my Keurig chamber, I had some cappuccinos. Why? Oh, why? Yo, shout out to MC Light. Back when cappuccino came out, ain't nobody even know what cappuccino was. That's before like the boom of coffee in our world. She had to go uptown. No, she had to go downtown to find some cappuccino. But anyway, I found this and I'm kind of sipping on this and I'm not loving it. So I'm talking more than I'm sipping. So hey, Bill, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out, bro. Jay says 3, 2, 1 contact. Oh man, right before Doctor Who. And also, do you remember? I keep trying to say the Get Along Gang, but there was a bunch of little crime solvers on 3, 2, 1 contact. What was it? The something something gang. Damn it. It'll come back to me. Somebody will probably shout it out. Matt says, gotta have the sweetener, meaning sugar, which is how I'm going to die. What was that heavy D cut? Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yo, what up, Ange? Shout out to Angela Sky. Maybe it'll be an extended coffee break tonight then. I don't know. I took a pretty deep nap in the middle of the afternoon, so maybe. Yo, my man Cheeks, shout out to Sean Galloway. Cheeks has been trying to collect all of his childhood cartoons on Divida, and he held up on his Instagram. He had like the complete series of Get Along Gang. I was like, man, that's a rough watch, bro. Yo, Reggie, sip of coffee for the king of Philly. Reggie Byers, HR Puffin stuff. Can't do a little because he can't do enough. Bloodhound, yes, yes, El Jamal Bloodhound Gang. I got confused because I kept thinking of those kind of like fake rapper dudes from the what was that, the 90s, when Cake and all those other bands came out who were kind of like rapping but not really. I guess like Beck is in there somewhere. That's a whole era of music that's very weird to me. The presidents of the United States, they didn't rap, did they? But you know what I mean. It was kind of like an ironic cross genre band. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, Bloodhound Gang did the roof, the roof, the roof is on fire. I like that one. Yes, Bloodhound Gang. Thank you guys. Oh, Ivana, how are you? I haven't seen you in years. Good to see you. Welcome to Coffee Break. I wanted to send my colored pictures to Captain Noah. Send your pictures to dear old Captain Noah. Something today, right away. Yo, that was also the era of local cartoon, or it was like a local kids television host. Like going back to my mom's generation, they grew up with your gal Sally Star. And wasn't like Svengoolie and those dudes? I guess that was a horror thing. But yeah, we had was Captain Noah wasn't. Yeah, Captain Noah was local. It was this dude who rocked a captain's hat and a blazer, and they would show cartoons. And that's kind of like the little gimmick from Pee Wee's Playhouse was a oh snap, she left Chief Halftown. Oh man, we're going way back, you guys. JRD says, I remember this one show, a math show, where this dude was dressed as a giant kangaroo detective. I think you're gonna have to put that in your Shakes book. Meet Ellis says, dude, I skated with this one dude from Bloodhound Gang in my driveway. When I was a kid, he was friends with my neighbor. Yo, that's what's up. Yeah, sip of coffee for Cheeks. Sean Galloway. Send your pictures to dear old Captain. And that was Captain Noah's wife who would like play the little guitar and send your picture. And the screen would change to like the showcase part where kids would draw little pictures to Captain Noah and they put it on the screen. Man, times were I don't want to say times were simpler, but you had different things to spend your time thinking about. Wait, hold on, Big Joe. Well, sip of coffee, Big Joe. Big Joe held it down all weekend. Um, he, he was acting as uh, my personal shopper for Baltimore Comic Con. You didn't have to do any of that, brother. You know, I love you the most. We Willie Weber. I don't know anything about that, man. You might have to expound on that. Let me see if I didn't miss anything. Bloodhound Gang. Math. So hold on. Jay says Math Patrol. Captain Kangaroo. Yeah, that was he was national, right? Everybody knows Captain Kangaroo. But you know what? I think just the way the world just kind of like crushed all of those kind of shows. I guess Howdy Doody kind of like that too, like kids showcase shows. Uh oh, remember this might be a real Philly thing. And now for the star of stars, Al Albert. And this like old white dude with white hair would come out with a Bob Barker mic and like terrorize children. And one thing about all of those shows where there was like a old person like interacting with young people, I always felt like they were feeding them lines because they would ask the little kid a question, and you could see the side of their mouth, their jaw was moving, like they were lipping the lines or maybe following along with what the kid was supposed to say. And then the kid would say something sassy, and the host would turn to the camera like, "Do you believe this kid?" But I felt like they fed him lines. I never liked the way that worked. Red and yellow, pink and green. What? Oh, wow. Who brought up Gumby? Gumby wasn't a kid's host, but maybe he was in his own way. Because didn't they show cartoons on Gumby too? Alfredson, yo, real rap. I would love, or maybe not love, to hear about some of the stories about kids that went on those shows. I guess it was kind of like, you ever hear about the kind of like the cult of the Mickey Mouse Club, like Frankie and Annette, and I guess the last Mickey Mouse Club people were like Justin Timberlake and those kids, right? They were like the last bastion of that whole world. Huh? Hold on, my mouse just died, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the show because I can't scroll. Let me see if I can do this. All right, there we go. We're good. Gumby was life. Yes. Wait, where did Gumby come from? I don't see who said anything about Gumby. Um, yeah, Reg says Howdy Doody was that's black and white way back. Oh yeah, Albert always got turned off, yo, right along with Lawrence Welk. Wonderful, wonderful. Lawrence Welk. Oh, you remember this guy's name was something Ferrari, and he would play the piano. It's just kind of like the end of an era. There was like Lawrence Welk, who was like a band leader, and they would just play tunes. But was it Lawrence Welk that had the bubbles that would come down the screen? That was like 6:30 on Saturday, and like you're just kind of stuck in front of the TV with somebody's grandma. But that was still the era when there still wasn't a lot of television, and you watched everything, everything. Why is a 10-year-old kid watching Barney Miller? You'd find something funny in it because it was on. That's where we came from. All right, let's see. There you go. Purple, orange, and blue. I can sing a rainbow. Sing a rainbow. Sing a rainbow too. Yes, yes. Wow, you brought it there. That's fantastic. All right, and that's where. Yes, Larry Ferreira. That was it. Oh my god. Some of those shows are kind of like what that Kristen Wiig skit where she would come out on Saturday Night Live with the tiny little doll hands with the singing sisters. That was like a riff with all of those variety shows. Larry Ferrari, there it is. That's it. Larry Ferrari, here you go. Larry played the organ. Yeah. Hee haw. Laughing. Well, laughing was like reruns, but yeah. Oh no. That's so good. All right, guys, this is the perfect time for ID. You've been watching Coffee Break with JN with your boy JN. Johnny Carson is in the building. Kevin Scrapple, because he's better than bacon. Your internet best friend, and your group advocate. We used to say, is it Thursday yet? We still represent Brand is Strong. But also the new one is, you come in a group? I see a lot of people up in here tonight. Y'all came to group. You came in, you signed in on a clipboard, poured some coffee, have a seat. What's going on with y'all this week? This week just flew by, didn't it? It's crazy. So anyway, there's people here I haven't seen in a long time, and they may be asking yourself, Jane, what's this about? What's going on here? How you do that? Well, what happens here is you get to watch cartoonist Jamar Nicholas. That's right, I'm a cartoonist. Remember that? I actually draw stuff for a living. You come here to watch me drink this coffee and rub my mouth. And when I'm out of coffee, go ahead, Trey, say it. Video over. Thank you for hanging out with me. And, I don't think I did it. I think I did it, but let's do it right now. Let's give a shout out. My GLOs, good looking out. The GLOs are for my Patreon supporters at the $2 level who I just put their name on the screen. That's how I show love to those guys. I love all my Patronuses out there. You could be one too. You could join the campaign. You can get on the big Chuck wagon. And ride out with us. We do a lot of fancy stuff. One of the coolest benefits of the Patreon these days is my dual podcast with superstar comic artist Mike Hawthorne, where we do It Ain't Hard to Tell, or IAHTT, where our Patronuses on both sides of the fence ask us questions, and we answer them just for you. No one else will ever see it. For the price of €1, you could have over, what is it, JRD, the official scorekeeper? Over 40 episodes of It Ain't Hard to Tell. Well, close to 40. And almost every one of those episodes is an hour plus. That's like 40 hours. Man, come on. We keep you entertained, bro. And you'll learn something before you're done. Kind of like Fat Albert. So thanks, guys. And I can't do this without the help of my caffeines. You know who you are. Where are you, Suze? You know the caffeines, friends and regulars, not decaf, of Coffee Break with JN. Well, hello. Thank you so much for your love. Jared D says, I need to update the spreadsheet. The breadsheet. So, so something that happened last weekend is Mike Hawthorne and I met up simpatico, and we did a live It Ain't Hard to Tell. Audience was a little light, but there was a lot of love in the room. We chopped it up on stage, and it was fantastic. Big Joe knows. Just what happens is we're supposed to talk for an hour because we both have things we should be doing, and we try to make a strong hour, but we always go over, and it kind of turns into us just riffing for 30 minutes, and then we try to jam the questions in at the end. Wait, what? Now that's something that's interesting, because a lot of internet personalities who are cartoonists, all you see is the back of their hand, like drawing stuff, and that's cool. But this is how, like Uncut Gems, this is how I win. This is what I do. you know where to get my books. You know where to see my art. But this is the other side of cartoonists you don't get to see. Just people just talking to talking about the art form, their career, what goes into doing this stuff for a living. And if you want to watch somebody draw SpongeBob, there's a million dudes on YouTube that'll do that for you. But there's only one of me, yo. That's real rap. Sip of coffee for that. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. So JRD says the live one was number 38. You guys are gonna hate to hear this, but the thing, Kitty Wong, what happened? Only half of the episode came out, so you might have to I don't know, transcribe it, JRD. You took notes, didn't you? Yo, Flesh, what's up? Flesh says Shana Na was my first ever live concert. Yo, Shana Na. Oh, my man Bowser. That's crazy. I never should have taught JRD that pause. He's off the hook with that. Yo, Star Search with Marilyn McCoo. And yo, who came from Star Search? Sinbad came from Star Search, didn't he? Star Search was American Idol before American Idol. It was So You Think You Could Dance before So You Think You Could Dance. It was The Voice before The Voice. I don't remember much else about it, but it was kind of like there was it was a contest, and at the end of the season, somebody would win, and I can't remember. I'm thinking of notable people who came from Star Search. I think Sinbad won that one year, and then there was, remember that little quirky comedian. If you guys ever saw that original Legend of Zelda commercial where the dude's like Zelda, and he was kind of like an offshoot Robin Williams, weird energy dude. Wait, wasn't he in Ghostbusters 2? He was like the weird curator or something. I think he lost on Star Search. He was a comedian. I forget his name. And that's all I can remember about Star Search. Maybe y'all can fill in the blank. Dave Chappelle was on Star Search? Yo, I'd love to see. That's got to be on YouTube somewhere. Solid Gold, the dancers made your pants tight. Yo, Carlos says it was the Gong Show after the Gong Show. Oh, I love the Gong Show. Didn't they try to bring that back and it just didn't work? That's so funny. Oh, I hear you. It's all good, man. But you know what? Let's give a strong Sue's pose for the queen of coffee break, Suzanne Ringo. Ooh, that was a good one. Yeah, and there was a lot of Sue's posing over Baltimore Comic Con. Thanks for everybody that hung out and stayed on brand. Thank you for all being part of the JNN, the Jamar Nicholas Network. I'm just leaning into my gifts, yo. This is what we do. I got my Kappa Cappuccino. We're rocking out. It's amazing. Yo, Ursher. Oh, I do remember Ursher was on there. Yeah, everybody's talking about Ursher because that's what Ludacris will call him, Ursher. Wow, I don't remember. Yo, Trey, what up? That's so funny. Paul Pate says one of my favorite obscure shows was Make Me Laugh. I don't remember that. You want to talk about that a little bit? All right, before we run out of time, I wanted to talk about memory. Wow, that's not going to work here, but maybe if you're watching on the chat, you can click on that. He had to be a string bean. He was like 14 or something when he started stand up, right? So I put a discussion prompt into the Facebook signpost where I said, there's a phrase, and I'm gonna type it out real quick so you guys can understand what I'm saying. Because sometimes I talk and y'all don't understand what I'm saying. So, all right. Any does that please type in the chat, what do you think that phrase means? And then we'll discuss. And if you've ever heard it before. Yo, E, what's up? Good to see you. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Okay. All right. Have a push. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah, it is Woody season. Facts. Meet Ellis. Okay. Okay. Like Trey's got a two-tier to look underneath something, like your bed or a car or something. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Right. Now, what is this one? Everybody's like going. This is like cool. It's like live quizzo with JN. Okay, Ange says never heard anybody say Kappa squat. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. All right, hold on. Oh, Bill says to sit down or take a look. Get a seat, steal a seat. Right? Because in our thank you. In our vernacular, yo, copping something means to get it. Right? Like you heard, like, where's my man July at? We talk about sneakers or whatever, or that I just put on my Facebook the Lacoste Cross Peanuts collab. Like, yo, I think I need to cop that Franklin shirt. Right? I've been having this debate for 25 years because I've heard people say both. But usually when we talk about it, somebody will say they've never heard the other one. So either you're a cop or a pop. Now, for what I believe, cop a squat is what you would say to somebody, or okay, so it could be you come in and somebody just sits over there and they're like, I'm a cop a squat. They just go to sit down. But popping a squat is you're peeing or whatever you want to say. Right? Paul Pace says, yeah, cop a squat is like grab a seat, not just sitting. Right. It's like, people come in the crib and you're like, yo, what's good? Like, yo, cop a squat. I'll be right with you. Yo, you want something to drink? Yeah, man. I'm good. I stopped off at the 7-Eleven. But pop is a whole other thing. So, I wanted to quiz the caffeines and see what you guys thought. Because there's always somebody who swears that I made up one of them. Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. discuss. That just kind of popped into my head earlier. I thought that was funny. And you guys are the smartest people in the room wherever you go, so I know you'd have the answer. Good night to the fam. Good to see you. Okay, Bill says Papa Squat is what you do in an alley, hoping no one is watching. That's hilarious. I think we lost some people when we started talking about Papa Squats. Hey, this is what happens on coffee break. I can't control it. So it's funny how crazy language is and how it can affect you. Wait, hold on. JRD is plugging himself. Hippofartimus is a comic I've been doing with Kidlet since she was 9. Coppa Squat is a heroine's police officer friend. That's funny. Yeah. So I mean, I guess no one's wrong, but I think you got to get the cop in the pop. Once you cop, you can't stop. I love it. That's fantastic. So also wanted to give kind of like a rewind to Baltimore Comic Con. Thank you as always to all of the fans, friends, and family that come out to Baltimore Comic Con. This last show was a little different just because of the way of the world, but I think the Nathans and all of their support and the special teams, the hands team for a football reference, did an amazing job with what they had to keep everybody safe and to make a fun show. I was there for a limited amount of time, but Baltimore's family. It felt like a family reunion to people I haven't seen like legit in 2 years. And it can be emotional. Like you see your people, and I think I said on stage, and it ain't hard to tell. It can be weird, like being a comic book exhibitor. You can almost feel like a carny, like you're going from town to town. You see the same faces in different places. But at the end of the day, it's your family. It's your, I can't say tribe anymore. That's sensitive. But it's your community, and it's great to see some faces, and see people still thriving. Yeah, facts. I give a lot of credit to the minions. Yeah, there's a lot of hardworking people. I've said before that in my last coffee break, which was like my survival guide to Comic Con. Another thing that makes Baltimore so special, yeah, Joe, I'm not doing it, um, is that they make you feel like you're being valued, and I think that's something that gets lost in all of the kerfuffles of getting ready for these shows or doing these shows. And even somebody just saying, hey, you guys good, is a lot. And that kind of care goes a long way to building good faith. I want to give a shout out to my man, John Gallagher, who his Max Meow Cat Crusader was the mascot of Baltimore Comic Con. Dare I say, he got the Jamar treatment at Baltimore Comic Con. Still one of the shining lights in my career was in 2017, where Baltimore Comic Con highlighted Leon in his debut, and it was fantastic. It was great to see all the families and the new fans and kids show up at the Kids Love Comics Pavilion and just give John love. He did a lot. He's done a lot of work. He deserves everything he's getting. And sip of coffee to my man John Gallagher, and also to the rest of the incredible crew at the KLC Pavilion. I see the Dean's family. JRD's always holding it down. There was a line around JRD's whole side of the island all weekend. Shout out to Kidlet. And JRD says, JM, thank you again for letting Kidlet squat at your table. Good usage. Thank you, Bradtree. Thank you. Yeah, you know what? I can't miss Baltimore, and I'm hoping next year when Leon the Extraordinary comes out, we're gonna do things real big. It's gonna be fantastic, and the love's gonna be there. And I'm cheesing already thinking about it. Yeah, Matt says our best weekend ever. People are really glad to be back. Also to that, I've been fortunate enough to be, uh, uh, friends and family in service to the Ringos. Um, I Me and John actually presented a bunch of awards at the Ringo ceremony on Saturday night, which was great. That was fantastic. I got to present last year during the online um, award ceremony, and I was a juror, and it's just like it's such a special thing, and I'm just really honored to be part of that world. So thank all of you guys. I appreciate it. Yo, me too. Like I saw Tom in the mist. I always forget how tall he is. All of you guys are tall. I feel like I'm shrinking. Like I used to be taller. I used to be a baller. I, I wish I was taller. I used to want to be a baller. I forget how that song goes. Um, Bill says Baltimore this year was smaller, but it just felt as busy. Yeah, I heard that the line was like wrapping around the convention center, and I heard there was some kind of like crusty, salty people in the line because they had to wait. But you just gotta do things the right way. Yo, sip of coffee for Comic Book Diner. The original podcast. When you go into the cave and you see the etchings on the wall, there's like a dude with a spear and there's a bison. There's also myself, John Gallagher, and Rich Faber, the original podcast, Comic Book Diner. Yeah, we were doing this without a record contract. We were doing this podcast thing 12 years ago, 13 years ago, 14 years ago. And Tom Zoller was also like the fourth guest on there, the fourth wheel. And we laid a lot of groundwork for kind of how I even do this stuff today. Just like just getting up there and just doing it and just riffing. And you get to see friendship on display where people who are just so natural with each other can share that with the world. So, if it wasn't for those guys, I wouldn't have a lot of stuff. Like Leon was birthed from my partnership with the Comic Book Diner gang. Those are my brothers. Matt says you were so natural up there. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And it was funny. The rest of the weekend, I was getting a lot of love for that. But everybody does a great job. Matt, you always do a great job. It was such a great night, and congratulations to all the nominees and winners. You're going down in the history books, kid. How would you have been? Shout out to the old Comic Book Diner. We had skits. Radio DJ Rick Faber. That's so good. I have on my Patreon. I have an archive of all of the Comic Book Diners. If you back me, I'll let you have them. They're so funny. I still listen to some of them now. Hey Myra, how are you? Good to see you. It was cool, man. Like we were doing this stuff without a safety net. It was such an early part of podcasting where you would say, "Yo, we do a podcast," and they go, "What's a podcast?" And that happened for a long time. And probably when people started picking it up and the technology got a little easier is when we kind of stopped it. But I sometimes wonder what it would be like if we had never stopped doing Comic Book Diner. We probably would have killed each other. But yeah, I mean, some of those things were hilarious. That was my first foray into getting sponsorships. We had a sponsorship with Canson Paper. I think, I had just secured, I think Smith Micro was one of our sponsors, and that turned into my further relationship with Graphically. who makes Clip Studio Paint. Yes, that Clip Studio Paint. That's great. Oh, I missed that. That must have been great. Mike's such a fantastic person, and I'm glad that he was able to go. Let's do an ID, and then I think we're going to start wrapping it. It's kind of too late for an ID, but let's do it anyway. You're watching Coffee Break with JN, with me, JN, your internet safe space, your internet hairbrusher. Because when you have a bad day, sometimes you just need to sit down and talk it out. And you could talk to me. What, you know what? You're pretty. They don't deserve you. I understand. No, I get it. Yeah, people suck, but not the caffeines. You know the caffeines. Friends and regulars, not decaf. We'll call you Breaking JM. But your hairbrusher, your safe space, the Black Dick Cavett, Johnny Carson, if you may, Bill O'Donnell, and also the host of this fine program. What has been happening here? Well, I'll tell you. You got to watch me, cartoonist. That's right, cartoonist Jamar Nicholas, drink this cappuccino and run my mouth. And when I'm out of cappuccino, video over. Well, we're not done yet. We're still rocking. I will send you off with some Werther's butterscotches. That's so great. Oh, yeah, smooth out the snarls. Yes. Oh, Jamal calls for a coffee check. All right, brother, I got you. Let's see. Where's my graphic? All right, you know the Drake song started from the top. Now we here. All right, we started at 100%. Well, you're not gonna like the. Oh, that's a hurt piece, y'all. So, y'all, before I kick out of here, why don't somebody ask me a question? Let's do an AMA real fast. Throw a couple questions out to me, and I'll answer them, and we'll see where this goes. JRD, why are you guys harassing Hawthorne? You know that's not good for your health. Bill got to watch me give Mike grief because I wouldn't let Mike give me a discount. And Sky, what up, and Sky? And says, are you dressing up for Halloween? If so, what's the costume? Yeah, I think I may have to be MF Doom for Halloween. I got the mask. Sip of coffee for my man Cash Foyt, who blessed me with the MF Doom mask. If you saw my Instagram post, you'll see it. I got to come as a spirit of MF Doom. And probably everybody is going to be like, who's that? Does coconut oil really revitalize your hair? I think it does. I remember when the coconut oil craze was real heavy and people were like, oh, you're supposed to take a spoon of this and swish it around your mouth and spit it. Don't swallow that. And it's supposed to make your teeth white. Like coconut oil was just doing way too much a couple of years ago. But now it seems like nobody's talking about coconut oil anymore. Oh, snap. Bill says, so how did you and Hawthorne first meet? Was that a con? Well, no, we talked about this and it ain't hard to tell. So basically, I was kind of like a gatherer. Like I was like Nick Fury at the beginning of the Marvel movies where I had earmarked certain people to bring them into the Avengers Initiative. And I was in my local comic shop, sip of coffee for Brave New World. This is Brave New World's like 2.0. And he had these mini comics on the counter. They weren't even racked. They were just on the counter. I guess George didn't know what to do with them because there were these tiny little mini comics. And I was like, yo, George, what is that? He was like, this guy brought these over. They're kind of cool. And I picked it up and I was like, yo, that was Mike Hawthorne's Hysteria. I'd never heard of Mike Hawthorne. I didn't know him from like Can of Paint. But I went home and I read that mini comic 1,000 times and I emailed him just from the back of the John, Mike at Think Tank Comics. And I was like, yo, I don't know if you're local, but I was just in my shop and I picked up your book. Yo, how can I be down? And he responded. And that was the beginning of it. And we talked about this a little while ago. I don't think you can connect with people like that anymore. Ain't nobody answer your email, fam. But that was the beginning of our thing. And, soon after that, I begged him to join my online forum, the Indie Cred All Stars. And Mike was just, man, he was just knocking it out of the park. His old Hysteria comics were so good. And I would like look at them and say to one of my buddies, yo, he's just doing shit that nobody else is doing. It's going to be a matter of time before he's a superstar. Look at him, right? I'm so proud of Mike. And we kind of live vicariously through each other's careers all this time. And, it's also like Mike is just one in a number of a lot of friends who I've had the same relationship with who, I hate to say it, but us graybeards are kind of like, it's like our time, I don't want to do a bunch of name dropping tonight, but like some of your favorite comic book artists are buddies of mine, and that blows people's mind, and that's where the Kevin Scrapple thing comes from. It's 6 degrees of JN, yo. But yeah, Mike Hawthorne, that's my dude. Yo, E, what's up? E says, sorry, just came in a little late after dinner. You probably already talked about Baltimore, but I was hoping to hear how it went for you. It was cool for me. I was kind of there, like I was like a specter. Like I was in the building, but I wasn't selling anything. I was just meeting up with people, chopping it up with people. I was supporting John Gallagher's weekend, supporting the Kids Love Comics Pavilion, and shout out to the Mariano brothers holding it down all weekend with workshops and programming and getting all the cats herded. And then we also I had a couple panels. I had a It Ain't Hard to Tell panel with Mike Hawthorne. We had a Kids of Comics panel with Harold Buchholz and John Gallagher, and Jimmy Gownley couldn't make it, talking about the business of KLC and what the future is going to hold. And it was fantastic. I got a crab cake. Man, I'm good. I got to hang out with the Warengos, and Mike's crew. Some of my favorite people are at Baltimore. It's fantastic. Sip of coffee, Craig Rousseau, Todd DeZago, Rich Woodall, the crew, Kelly Yates, all of y'all. Matt, how we roll. It's such a good crew, and I have so many crews, and it's just good to be able to kind of touch down with everybody. I got my grapefruit brulee with my grapefruit spoon. I'm good. Jamal says, nah, people love Doom. My Doom print is one of my top selling prints. Yeah, you know what? I could talk about MF Doom a whole other time. But we're going to start wrapping this up. My numbers are dropping. People have other things to do. But you guys, thanks so much for hanging out. If Suze is still around, if Suze is still awake, Suze would say, all right, y'all, start to say your goodbyes now because you know what happens. But before we go, we got to do another Suze pose. The Suze love was strong at Baltimore. There are a lot of Suze poses in the wild. Look, you've caught a Suze pose in the wild grass. It's super effective. Shout out to the winners of the Suze Pose Challenge. Shout out to Fletch. Fletch, I saw you in the building. Fletch and I and Derek chopped it up. Hung out with K Dub. There was a lot of superstars of Baltimore. Yeah. That's what's up. Wow, Joe, you just broke it down. My life is a giant set of Venn diagram circles. Like the whole thing is so much. There's all of that. There's so much of it. Yo, that's real rap. I like that. Yeah, that's real. Um, well, yeah, no, man. This, it was great. I can't wait for next year. Hopefully, the world will be in a better place. And we're just gonna do the thing, y'all. I'm excited. Did I answer everybody's questions? I got like a sip left. Give me one more question. What album were you listening to? Do you remember, or what songs did you listen to? And for any Doom fans out there, what's your favorite MF Doom album? It could be an offshoot, like it could be King Ghidorah, Take Me to Your Leader, Victor Vaughn, Vaudeville Villain, Mad Villainy, um, Born Like This, Operation Doomsday. There's so many. Oh, good choice, man. Good choice. Food is so good. Yo, beef wrap. Yo. Oh, I think I see it. Is that like a YouTube mix? You might have to send me that, E. Victor Vaughn, yeah. Yo, Vaudeville Villain might be my favorite Doom album. It's so good. You said the roach is never dead. Yo, that's that's deep. Vomit Spit, yeah. So good. GMC is one of my favorites. Yeah, so good. All right, you gotta hit me up with that. But yeah, if you see the super villain in the streets, it's probably me under the mask. But remember, anyone can wear the mask. That's facts. All right, you guys, we're gonna wrap this up. I had a great time kicking it with you. Thank you so much. Oh, microwave mayonnaise. You're about to get me started. Thank you guys so much for your commitment to the tabernacle. I can't do this without you. As we came to group, we hugged it out. We talked about our problems. We drank this coffee, and now we're prepared to go into the rest of our week. And then, before you know it, again, we'll be saying, "Is it Thursday yet?" Shout out to everybody who I haven't seen who joined me. Some new faces, some old faces. Thank you so much. I love you all. Consider joining my Patreon. I'm on this really slow crawl to 50 patrons. I'll get there one of these days. I said I'd love to have 50 patrons by by the end of the year. Lost a couple, but let's see what happens. Thank you, brother. Thank y'all. Therapy over. JRD says I need to step up my Doom knowledge. Yeah, man, get on that. We were doing your Doom homework. We got to get back on those lessons. Yo, good night, Meat. Good to see you, bro. Shout out to the fam. All the yins. All right, you guys. You've been watching Coffee Break with JN, with your boy JN. Kevin Scrapple in the building. The ambassador of Philadelphia and Captain Scholastic. Well, hello. What happened here tonight? Well, you got to hang out with me and watch me drink this coffee and run my mouth. And now that I'm out of coffee, I'm gonna do this because I haven't done it in a while. Oh, video over. Good night, y'all.